Hi, my name is John Dwyer. And I believe that the government and the institutions try really hard to take the fun out of being successful. But it doesn't have to be that way. I'm living proof, and so are the people that I work with. Day after day, I continue to see successful people make simple financial mistakes with their money. Mistakes that are unknowingly costing them hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars over their lifetime. If you would like to experience epic upside, then these videos are for you.
So the next topic we're going to talk about is qualified plans.
Yep, that's right. Do you have any idea what a qualified plan is?
No idea.
Okay, so a qualified plan is a type of government-sponsored plan, okay, that you put money into pre-tax. So there's all different types of qualified plans. You got 401ks, you have IRAs, you have SEP, you have simple plans, you have 403b plans, you have defined benefit plans. All these different types of plans are what we refer to as a qualified plan or a qualified retirement plan account. And the idea here is that, they were instituted in the 80s. When pensions started going away, 401k plans were introduced as a saving vehicle. And from that point on, they've really grown is to really be like the solve-all, be-all of what you should be doing for retirement. I mean, when you talk to most advisors, it's the first thing you should do is max out your 401k.
I have heard that, yes.
Right? And so when we help clients understand the implications of that, it's important to understand the rules and how those plans work.
Yep.
And what I think is that most people really don't understand the consequences of those decisions.
I'd agree with you.
Because, let's walk through a little bit of a story.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a little example. I'm going to give you a hypothetical example.
Okay.
So how do you feel about debt in general? Like, just think about the word debt. I mean, do you love debt? Do you hate debt? I mean, is it something that you try to get out of?
I don't think that's good.
Okay, that's not good, right? So yeah, debt's a 4-letter word, right? Debt's bad. Okay. So I'm going to give you a hypothetical example of debt, and I want you to tell me how you feel about it. Okay. So in this example, it's really important to understand that you have assets. Okay. But you can't liquidate any of the assets.
Okay.
All right. So now in this example, you're going to have to borrow $10,000. Okay.
Okay. Does it matter who I'm borrowing from?
Well, we're going to walk through that example. Okay. So if someone needs to borrow $10,000, okay, typically where's the first place that you would go to borrow money?
I would typically go to the bank.
Okay. So you're going to go to the bank. So in this hypothetical example, right, the year is 2008.
Okay.
What happened in 2008 with lending?
They stopped lending.
They stopped lending, right? You basically, even if you had all the money, banks were still not lending money because of the economic crisis.
Yes.
Okay. So if the banks aren't lending money, right, and you need to borrow $10,000, where would you go next?
Family or friends?
Yeah, family or friends, right? The good news is that you have family, and the good news is you have some friends and people like you, right? But the bad news is that's 2008. They got caller ID and they know that you want money, so they're not going to pick up the phone. Okay. So you and I have been working together for a number of years, right? And so you call me up and you say, John, listen, I've exhausted all possible avenues. Like, I'm embarrassed to ask this question, but I'm in a position to where it's not life or death, but it's an emergency. I need to borrow $10,000, okay? And I'll say, Maria, you know what? I'm sitting pretty good right now. I actually have liquidity, use of control of my money, and I'm happy to give you a loan, just like the bank would loan you money. Now, understand, this is a loan, okay? Now, anytime you take out any form of debt, what 2 things do you typically want to know about that debt?
How long do I have to pay it back?
Yep, how long you have to pay it back, and then what else?
Interest.
And the interest. What interest are they going to charge you, right? So Maria, here's my terms, right? The last thing I want to do is burn you with a monthly payment right now. Just take the money and spend it.
Okay.
Those are pretty good terms, right? I'm a pretty good guy, okay? But here's the interest. But here's the interest. I really appreciate your, positive reinforcement of me being a good guy. But here's the interest. There's going to be a day that you get back on your feet again, and it could be 10, 15, or 20 years from now. And I get to determine then the interest I want to charge you retroactive to the day that I lent you this money based on your net worth. Would you cash that check?
I would not.
You would not, right? I mean, you didn't even have to think about it, okay? And I asked this question multiple times throughout the week, and no one's going to cash that check. But what I explained to you was the worst possible debt imaginable, true? A debt that's payable with an unknown term and an unknown rate.
Right.
No one would take that debt.
Right.
But Maria, what's really interesting about this whole conversation is that I have yet to have a client that tell me that they would take on that debt. But yet almost every single one of the clients are taking on that debt and they don't even know about it.
And how are they doing that?
And here's why. What I just described for you was a 401k,
Oh, okay.
IRA. See, you're putting your money into these type of accounts, okay, on a pre-tax basis,
Right.
right? And at some point in time when you take the money out, you're going to pay the tax. You have no idea how much of that money is yours. In fact, you're paid, in most states, you're paid fifth before you even get your money. Federal tax, state tax, Medicare, Social Security tax. You're fifth in line before you ever get your dollar. See, and what happens is that we have to understand the future taxation of our dollars. Now, if I were to ask you, do you believe taxes are going to go up, down, or stay the same in your financial future, what would you say?
I'd say they probably go up.
They're probably going to go up, right? And I think most people agree to that. So the question is does it make any sense to put money in a lower tax bracket only to pull it out at a higher tax bracket?
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense, right? And so what we help our clients understand is the implications of the money in a 401k plan. The other issue is that it's the liquidity. There are so many people that are going to work, right? They're driving to work, they're making their income, they're coming home and they're putting money in these types of accounts and they have no liquidity, no access to money, but yet they have credit card debt. They have one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. I mean, these plans are tied, the money's tied up to at least 59 and a half. And then the government requires you, now new legislation requires you to take the money out at 72. There's only 11 years where you get to determine what you want to do with that money without the government telling you or having influence on you of how and when that money comes out.
Do you think most people know that?
Most people don't know that.
Okay.
Again, traditional planning, the advisors are like, that's the first thing you should do is max out your 401k.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I mean, I think a lot of people, think that.
Again, and why is that? It's because of, if you look at the $32 trillion in these accounts, it's a huge revenue source for not only the advisors, but the institutions.
Right.
Okay? And, financial advisors, they get paid on the entire asset value and half the money's not even yours. So again, I'm not saying they're bad, but we really have to understand the implications. You wouldn't cash that check, so why are you cashing it for your retirement?
Right.
It is a debt. You have given the government carte blanche ability to determine how much money, when they want it, how they want it, and you have no control. And yet we're putting all our hard-earned money into these accounts, and we're relying on the government to play the game fair.
Right.
And the last I checked, the government never did anything beneficial for us.
Yeah, they don't really care much about.
They don't, right? And so when we help people understand the implications of where to put their money, right? And here's the thing, like I go all over the country working with the clients and even CPAs. And not to beat up on the CPAs, but their job is to save you taxes when?
Now.
Today, now, right? So what happens is they're doing strategies, right, to where they help lower the tax liability today. But all they're doing
They're
is
just pushing it off.
Yeah, qualified plans only do two things. They postpone the tax and the tax calculation. And you're just kicking the can down the road. See, in tax planning, there's a difference between a reduction and a deduction. In a 401k, we're led to believe that you're saving tax.
Right.
You're not saving tax. All you've done is postpone
You're
the tax
delaying it.
from this year to some date in the future. And so though a CPA's job is to try to eliminate or minimize your tax this year, the problem is they're pushing that liability in the future to where you just said if tax rates go up,
Right. You're screwed.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
Right? And it goes back to the belief, the BS, the belief system is, do you allow yourself to be in control of your money?
Right.
And almost everything that we're taught to do with our money, we are not in control.
Right.
And so the things that we help our clients understand is how to be in control of their wealth and help them understand the economic principles for they can be in control of their money for once in their life and not the institutions or the government.
That sounds good to me.